the volume. Turn up the volume. You've arrived at the destination for all things Kentucky. This is the Bleed Blue Network Podcast.
What's going on, Big Blue Nation? Kentucky wins on the road against top 10 Ole Miss, getting its second straight top 10 road game. And Kentucky is now 2-1 in their last 3 games against top 10 opponents. That is an incredible stat. Put some respect on Mark Stoops' mother effing name. This team is back in the playoff race. People are even tweeting about it. You have pundits and figureheads now out there in ESPN and college football world saying this might actually be a playoff team. They're throwing that South Carolina loss out. They're seeing how the defense is playing. The offense is making progressions. And I'm jacked. We are sitting around having a celebratory drink. You have me, Paul, joined by Randow out in California, Kyndall in a blanket, and Jaden.
He's actually dripping wet from that.
Yeah.
I've been outside for a while.
Soaking wet, but still happy.
I
feel like that's synonymous.
If you listen to the pre...
See, I was going to say that, but I withheld myself.
It would have been way more funny if you said it.
Yeah,
not even going to lie, because nobody would have expected it.
Yeah, if you listen to the pregame show, I was pretty negative. Obviously, I was
because you were sober.
Yes, I was proved wrong, and I have never been more happy to be wrong. And it's not a good day outside, but inside where we're watching the games, it's been a good time in Lexington.
It's been a great day today.
Is that your couch out there?
No. The couch, no couches have been harmed in the celebration.
I just took videos. I didn't supply any couches.
I gotta tell you, that was the you talk about the disrespect. They kept, as the game was closing out, they kept dropping the Stoops is 1-9 against top 10 opponents there
on the road. It was on the road.
Yep, just leading up to a massive game, and I gotta tell you what, we talked about this on the space after that 4th and 7 conversion for Ole Miss with the touchdown. I sat on the couch. I was moping. I was pouting. I was like, man, it's the game. Sent out tweets. We're going to be the team that just gives people trouble and, can't and ends up walking away with an L, moral victories type thing. And then I'm telling you what, the cojones on that 4th and 7 to just step back and throw it up to Barry on and say, let our best player go get it. That was a play that I think if you're a Kentucky fan, you will remember for the rest of your days right there.
Yeah, I'm wondering what you all think on the 4th and 7, 4th and 8 call to Barry, and I wonder if you all would have gone for that on your own 20. I know Stoops said it was a gut decision and the analytics didn't like it, but I was just wondering what you all would have done in that situation.
I had
I would have
zero
punted
faith.
the ball.
Yeah,
I would have punted
faith that Stoops
100%.
Did not think Stoops was going to go for it. I was like, he's going to kick it because he had 2 timeouts and the 2-minute timeout. Like he's kicking this ball. And when he went for it, I put it out there. I was like, Stoops, you have to act like this is your last possession. Act like you're not going to get the ball back. And we got that stop. And he did. And you got one-on-one press coverage and drop back and let your boy go get it. And he did. And then after the game, if you saw the embrace between him and Barry on when they were hugging and getting all hyped, that was a pretty cool moment.
I would also like to add Barryon Brown has not had, just like Josh Caddis, has not had a great start to the season. And Josh Caddis did not have a great game. But he ends up making probably one of the biggest heads up plays in UK football history. And that's why I was actually thinking before when they ran, Wimsatt had not played a lot in the second half. Maybe he had one play, right? I was thinking in a physical game like this, you don't bring a guy in cold like that because you're asking for a turnover and the ball popped out, but right into Josh Caddis. How many times have we seen shit like that happen to us, or we fumble like that and we lose? How many times have we seen that?
Can you imagine what we're doing right now if we were that close to winning the game and he didn't recover that fumble. The fan base is losing their mind.
I don't even want to talk about it. No negativity today.
So the fact that he was the Kentucky savior today. The Kentucky blessing, it just bounced right in his hands, and all the negativity that was surrounding him on Twitter and all that stuff about not being able to block and couldn't catch that ball. Yeah, exactly. Out the window. And it's like, hey, and maybe that's the thing he needs. Like maybe that's the break that he needs where it's just like, okay, I'm going to get out of my head and I'm going to get back to being the ball player that I know I can be.
The great thing that I love so much, our good friend Dylan Ballard tweets out, there are a lot of faceless accounts that aren't tweeting today. And I love it because the negativity by the faceless people in this fan base, we've seen it. Other accounts have seen it. There are a bunch of faceless people that just need to shut the F up. They don't represent the majority of this fan base. If you look at the negativity, right, like even before the Georgia game, you would have thought that we would have had 45,000 and been a bunch of heads. And no, that place was full and it was rocking from the gut, from the shoot, right? If anything, what we've learned in the last 3 weeks is the Kentucky fan base, football fan base is strong. The support is there. And this team, and I understand the negativity around South Carolina, but this team, that defense is a championship caliber. This might be the best defense in college football. I have no problem saying that. They took a team averaging 50 points a game, 630 yards a game, and a quarterback that had a QBR of almost 90, all leading the nation, and bullied the shit out of them. And the only way they scored was two explosive plays. That's how they scored. 2 explosives. They got killed on both.
I think you'll disagree with me. I think Georgia's still the best defense, but you can't argue we're a top 3-5 unit in the country.
Let me put it this way. If Georgia goes and bullies Alabama tonight, I think Georgia's probably 1 or 2.
If Michael Williams plays, that changes things.
But that's where, listen, if they give up 35 to Alabama tonight, then it's us.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Agreed.
But if Alabama goes out, but if Georgia goes out and dominates and plays and holds Alabama under 17 points on the road tonight, I'll agree with you. I think Alabama's probably the best. Georgia's probably the best defense. But we're definitely, I would not put another team above us.
Being second to Georgia is not a bad place to be at all.
No, this is a championship winning defense.
Either way, you could argue our D line is top in the country. The depth and the talent on the D line, you could 100% argue between Georgia and Ohio State and us between being the top D line, or I guess Texas. Those 4, you could argue is the best in college football.
Bro, that front 7 was in the backfield all night long.
Let me highlight something real quick, and we're going to talk about the Barryon play. We're going to talk about the Josh Caddis fumble recovery. The play of the game that won't be noticed by most is the J.J. Weaver sack when he got held on that 3rd down play. He was absolutely held, and he put his head down and chased Dart and put him in the dirt. When he could have given up on the play, you see the slow-mo, he puts his head down and he's just getting after it and puts this some bitch in the dirt.
I thought it was a strip sack when it happened.
Yeah, I thought so too. But that was the play where it's like, I mean, Dart was not comfortable. He did not like getting hit like that, and that play kind of sealed it. So I think that's a unsung play of the game by Weaver.
He kind of moved around and looked like Carson Beck did, where we don't see him or Jackson Dart be uncomfortable very often, and especially this season with the competition Ole Miss has played. Jackson Dart's, he sat back there and played video game for 4 weeks. He looked different this week, and I think that's our defensive line making that impact. Our linebackers are really, really good. They're sitting on those over the middle routes. They're blitzing, hot off the edge. I mean, we have Jamon Dumas-Johnson coming off the edge on certain plays, and that's not something that he's, the scouting report wouldn't tell you that he's supposed to do that. But Brad White was in his bag. The defense played amazing. They proved me wrong. I'll tell you that. They proved me wrong, and I'm really happy that they did.
Yeah, Pop in that spiral was impressive. His ability to hit him and Ty Bryant, both of them be able to key on the quarterback.
Pop played big today.
Yeah, very, very big.
JQ Hardaway as well deserves a massive shout out for the game that he had. And Tyrion Nichols as well, even though he got hurt early on.
Yeah.
But even though it was only the one play where he showed up on TV, like that is the kind of play where they scored touchdowns in their first 4 games.
He made a big play also by the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Huge hit. Like, I got to tell you one thing. This team hits and they tackle. Like, if you think about like the first few years of Mark Stoops era, was the one thing, be physical. They would do like break tackles. The yak against Kentucky sucked. This team hits like a ton of bricks, and Willie Rodriguez started that
set the tone
today. If they would have forced a 3-and-out, I would have actually thought game's over. We're winning first possession. Kentucky's defense looked like dog shit.
Did you all think it was over when they scored the 7 at the beginning?
I said, "Welp." I was like, "Welp, yeah, well, we're about to take it straight in the ass with no lube." Thank you very much. We are excited. Come again. We'll go again after the break. How about the fact that we get to go into a bye week without feeling the taste of an L?
Right.
It's exciting.
So it was at that touchdown that I laid my big bet when it went to 17.5. I was like, let's put Kentucky to win and the under, because I just felt good. It just felt good. Willie Rodriguez came out, popped him, and then it's like they got a little shocked, but we still showed that we were going to have some fight. And boy, oh boy. But I'm looking up some Jackson Dart stats. So he went 18 for 27, depth of target 9.7 yards. And I'm going to go back and look at what that compared to in his previous game.
I mean, Louisville is now about to go down 17. We'll look in the fourth, which what a great day if Kentucky wins and Louisville loses.
We'll look at Jackson Dart's stats and more than likely say that this is his worst game. I know they still have to play Georgia, so that may end up being it.
But it was Kentucky. It was not the fact that he played bad.
Oh yeah, we were getting after him, and we affected the pocket the way that we see teams. I mean, even today you saw teams get after Brock Vandagriff on third down, make it so that he couldn't make a play, and we got after Jackson Dart the exact same way. And even with a couple missed holding calls, we still got after.
What did we say on the live between at halftime? It's going to be the turnover, right? Like if you can get a turnover, and even though Kentucky didn't score on the turnover, they stopped Ole Miss from scoring, and that ended up being like a massive play. But if you look at the stats, Kentucky had 22 first downs, Ole Miss had 14, dominated first down. Time of possession, Kentucky has the ball for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
40 minutes.
They showed that on the TV, and I was
40 minutes. They ran that game, that offensive game plan to perfection in a lot of ways. And I think they left a lot of points on the table. Like, I think they left a lot to be desired. Yards, obviously, Kentucky is outgained by Ole Miss by 17 yards.
20. 17
yards.
17 yards.
What was the passing game difference?
Jackson Dart out through had 18 more yards than Brock Vandagriff on 18 to 27. Yeah, it was on 18 to 27. Brock was 18 of 28. Yards per pass, Brock was 8.7. Dart was 9.7. Rushing, Kentucky outrushed Ole Miss 93-92. Had 47 rushing attempts. Ole Miss had 29. They actually had a better yards per carry average. Ole Miss had 8 penalties. They should have had about 18, which is crazy to think that they missed a lot. And what's honestly kind of funny, and if we're just being honest with ourselves, Baryon probably pushed off a little bit at the end, but you know what? Fuck it, because Kentucky got screwed so many times. You think about that face mask penalty there when they're in plus territory, and if they call that, they're in field goal range.
Hey, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, that is great receiver play. He slowed down enough just to push off and speed up and drop
use the body,
that was
mostly
gorgeous.
And use the body more, which was
it would have been a bad call to call that offensive pass interference. That was textbook technique by Baryon Brown right there on the end.
It was, and the fact that Baryon didn't do anything all game, and he had that big reception when we were pinned back for about 20 yards. I think he had another one in the game, and then he has that monster one. And I got to be honest with you, I think if he would have kept going, if he would have stayed outside leverage on that instead of trying to cut it back inside, I think he might have housed it on that play.
Yeah, but I think we said on the space, I think it was good that he got caught because we end up scoring and wasted another 2 minutes on the clock. So if he scores there, there's still 3.5 minutes on the clock. We
didn't say that on the space because it was the second half when that happened.
Yeah, that's it. We did a post game space.
Oh yeah, we did. Sorry, it's been a long.
Don't try me.
This has been one of those days. I'm starting to forget things because so much is happening.
Baryon got to 88. That's
And he had
double what he has in the season,
and he had nothing
or for the rest of the year.
He had nothing. The big thing about this is that this team, I think, has a lot of confidence from this. The defense now thinks they're probably. I guarantee you, the defense thinks that they're untouchable.
They should,
as they should. I guess Notre Dame got a touchdown wiped off the board.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I went in there for a second. There was some weird stuff going on. I don't really know what happened.
The offense is starting to progress. You're starting to see their ability to take shots downfield. You're starting to see their ability to hit that 20 to 25 yard play.
The dingle play that didn't happen.
Yeah. The Willie play that did happen. Yeah, that one would have been a great play.
Hampton drew up a masterclass.
This offensive line, huh?
Hampton drew up a masterclass outside of the QB draws.
He got the QB
run.
He passed. All right, you got a W. He passed. Masterclass might be a little bit too much.
Stretch.
It situationally, yes. He had the one drive where he threw the 3 downs instead of getting a run in when they got a turnover on downs. But other than that, every time we were in a leverage situation, he found a way to find a guy open. And I mean, Dan Key playing like an NFL receiver helps. Finally playing like the guy that we thought he was going to be for the last couple of years.
Playing
the last
insane.
Yeah. He's him waking up has changed this offense completely, along with the offensive line is improving in pass protection, even if it's not good.
I know we're starting to build relationships with this team. I need to find out. I need to be validated to see if Bush and Dane Key have sat down and watched the Julio Jones clips from Atlanta when Bush was there, because he's running the same routes. And I saw it and I said it. I just want to be validated that I'm not crazy.
Also, can we also say that on that play to Barryon, what an amazing job the offensive line did, and Demi again picking up the blitz. Demi picked up blitzes that was big plus plays all damn game.
Demi might be offensive player of the game, offensive player of the game. He only had 47 net rushing yards. If he doesn't pick up in pass pro the way he did, we may not have gotten to double digits, let alone to 20.
Josh Clemens posted, "Blackout loading, go Cats."
We're on our way.
I love the fact that the former players are out there. Darn. Oh, by the way, Kyndall needs to say what she posted on the Instagram, because it was literally maybe the great. I need to post it. Did you send me did you send me the picture?
What picture?
Oh, was that not you? Who sent that?
For those on audio, what are we talking?
Oh, we're talking about Ole Missed It.
Ole Missed It. Didn't you post that?
I did post it on my Instagram story.
Oh yeah, I needed posting that. Yeah,
everybody can go.
I thought we were talking about the it is absolutely okay now for Josh Caddis to date your sister. It doesn't matter where you go.
Yes. While we're here, I think you owe Josh Caddis an apology.
Well, I guess he can have the satisfaction to say that it is okay to maybe possibly let him date your sister, coming from the originator of that phrase.
The silence is very loud right now.
So it seems like nobody else agrees.
I would let him find a sister. Let him. I mean, after that,
somebody needs to get this episode to him.
So here you go. Here you go. Just videotape it right now and just we're gonna videotape this and we're gonna text it to Josh Caddis. All right.
We've come to the conclusion that it is well okay for you to date anybody's sister after today.
Cheers, Josh.
Let's go A4. Let's go A4.
That is getting sent
so
to
heading into
Caddis.
the bye week. What do y'all like? We got the unexpected win over Ole Miss. We got the unexpected loss for South Carolina. Like, where do we?
Playoffs are back in, baby.
For sure.
Playoffs. That is the number one thing on my brain right now is the fucking playoffs.
What has to happen for that?
Win
Against
win.
Can you lose at all?
Yeah, I think you can.
You can drop one of Tennessee or Texas.
You can only lose one though.
I'm with you, Randow. Yeah. One of Tennessee or Texas.
Yeah,
the other one, I think you put yourself in position to get in if you win one of them.
Right.
Now it puts it 9-3, right?
Weird.
9-3.
9-3 with
yeah.
two top 10 road wins would put you in position.
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm just going to tell you right now. This team can run the table. With this defense, this team can run the table because the offense is going to keep getting better.
Yeah.
I think by the end of the season,
more confident. I'm
I
actually
think
more confident in the Texas game than I am the Tennessee game. Just the
I'm
way
actually
the
more
offense speeds us up.
I'm actually more confident in the Tennessee game.
I agree with Paul.
And here's why.
I am as well.
Tennessee's
Okay.
offense does not look very good. They've not played well against teams that are better. Now look, that's another thing. You could have the exact same thing that happens, right? Like Nico improves and their offense gets better, our offense gets better. I think what Kentucky does defensively, I don't think they give a shit about the tempo. We just proved that today. We just took a team averaging 650 yards a game and just made them look like a bitch. Like, I don't think that matters. Health on the defensive side of the ball matters. Staying healthy. Obviously, we proved we've got a ton of depth in the secondary. Deion Walker is a guy that can't miss like a game against you. You could maybe get away with Deion Walker against maybe Florida or Vandy. You can't get away with it against Georgia and Tennessee. But with that said, Kentucky's next 3 games are Vandy at home, Florida on the road, Auburn at home. I like my chances of winning those 3.
Yeah.
If you want to be
sure.
if you want to be the playoff team that we've been talking about for the last couple minutes, you have to go 3-0. Like, these are not 3 teams that are super competitive as far as atop the SEC. After today, you will have beaten teams better than them. You need to go 3-0 if you want to make the push that you want to make at the end of the year.
If Kentucky wins the next 3, they go into Tennessee, probably ranked top 15 again at 6-2.
You go into Tennessee playing for the playoffs.
Basically,
Exactly.
yeah. You that could be a de facto elimination game potentially. And listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, Kentucky wins the next 3. There's gonna be a lot of fucking blue at Neyland.
Oh yeah.
There should be a lot of blue in Gainesville. There's gonna be a lot of blue in Neyland, and I'm gonna tell you right now, there's gonna be a lot of blue in Austin.
Yeah,
There will be a lot of blue in Austin no matter what. I
for
think
sure.
that I think
I was getting a bunch of texts saying I wasn't playing. I was canceling my trip to Austin, but now I'm going. So like,
Yeah.
A lot of people are heading down there to have a good time. I mean, that's a bucket list trip regardless. And now that we're competitive, you got to go.
You have
Listen,
to.
there's a big argument to say Louisville could go into that game, into our last game 9-2. Kentucky could go in that game 9-2, and Kentucky could be playing for an actual playoff spot.
Yeah.
Like, there is a chance. Look, I'm not saying that Kentucky, but look, Texas is not looking like today. Texas doesn't look like a team that scares me right now with how they're playing. Does Texas look like a team that scares you right now?
I mean,
They don't have yours.
Yours
Isn't playing.
Right.
In this current instance against Mississippi State, no.
It's
but
14-6, almost in the 4th. Mississippi State sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's the
I
defense.
still don't want to play. I still don't want to play Texas at all if we don't have to.
But here's the thing about Texas, right? And I'm just going to put this out there. It's the same thing with Oklahoma. It's the same thing with some of these other teams. They have not experienced a full season in the SEC. They're going to get punched in the mouth every single week. Any team can kind of beat you. I think that's like there's things in this that I think are going to go out in the watch. I don't think anybody in the SEC is probably going to go undefeated this year. If you're a coach now, do you want to go undefeated? Knowing that you have to win a national championship and you have to win an extra 3 to 5 games?
Right.
So Matt
3 to
Jones
4
on KSR has made a good point that the 5 seed might be the best seed because you get to play
at home.
You get to play the worst team at home, and then you get to play the
The
worst
4 seed.
conference winner.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but if Georgia still has to play at Ole Miss, which is,
And they also
know we
play
just
Texas,
won,
don't they?
yeah, they still play Texas. They play obviously Alabama tonight. That game hasn't happened by the time.
Texas also has to play Oklahoma next week, Georgia the week after, and then they have Arkansas is not looking like a pushover now. They got to go to Arkansas. They got to go to A&M, and they got to think about this. Arkansas has 2 of their last 3 games are rivalry games, both of them on the road, and they have Kentucky wedged in the middle. Kentucky could walk into that game as a top 10 team.
They could, yeah.
We're gonna talk all this shit and go lose to Vandy.
Okay. Now, don't get crazy.
I am petrified of this Vanderbilt game in 2 weeks. We'll see if
I'm
the
not
pregame show.
petrified.
We'll see if the pregame show is different in 2 weeks.
Okay.
But I am currently worried.
I am
That's where I would say myself.
No.
not even close. I'm
But-
not worried.
I will say
Notre Dame did just
Big Blue
score
Nation,
again now.
Big Blue Nation, don't sit on Vandy. Show up next. We got a bye week, and then the week after that, show up, get that stadium loud, get the boys hype.
I don't think you're
Feed
gonna
off
Make sure that happens.
I don't think you're gonna have to worry about that.
No.
I think Kentucky fans. I think this rejuvenated. Obviously, look, you can't have a stinker against Vandy and lose. You can't have a stinker against Florida and lose. That you lose people again, right? Like if Kentucky goes and wins the next 2, that Auburn game is going to be nuts.
You lost your stinker. You lost your stinker
you've
against
already-
South Carolina.
yeah.
You already used it.
Yeah, you
blew
can't
it,
have
yeah.
no more stinkers.
Yeah, you're right about the Auburn game. If we go in there, win in the next 2 weeks, it will be
You know what's
Rough.
terrifying?
a party. When
You know what? You know what's terrifying?
What's
This
that?
team could go 8-4 and be one of the top 10 best teams in the country. Like that's not a joke.
It's
That's
not the way
a
we
joke.
thought we'd get there, but we said that before the season. They could be 8-4 and be a top 15 team.
Yeah.
They're not going to make the playoffs at 8-4 unless there's some crazy shit that happens. 9-3 though, I definitely think is possible. If they go 10-2, do they have a shot at the SEC title game?
Georgia will always have the tiebreaker.
Yeah, Georgia would have to lose 3.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
I don't think so either. I think Georgia could lose 2. I think Alabama could lose 2. Texas could lose 2. Tennessee could lose 3. I think Tennessee could lose 3 or 4.
I don't see us really being in the race at the end of that.
No.
To be honest with you, I don't see all of those teams losing multiple games.
I mean, if you look at the schedule, you can. I can see all those teams losing a game or 2
to each other. Yeah, but when they play the other teams, I'm never going to pick an upset of Bama, Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss. We just beat them, but they're still a game above us, and I don't.
I mean,
they'll
Alabama's
lose a ton
got
of
to
other
go
games.
on the road to Tennessee, Missouri at home, on the road to LSU, on the road to Oklahoma.
If Arkansas keeps looking good, Tennessee has to go there next week.
Right.
Is
That's-
Arkansas winning today, by the way?
They're tied at
No.
halftime.
Tied up.
But like Arkansas
Auburn's
is
up 21-10 on Oklahoma, by the way. No, A&M's up 4 in the 4th.
Yeah.
A&M's up 21-17.
Arkansas is secretly competitive, and Tennessee going to Arkansas. I don't know. It's a long shot. But if you want to start playing the game, you can start looking at some games that could spark the upset.
I'm not
or
worried.
making you
Listen,
think that way.
I'm not worried about Kentucky getting the SEC title game. Personally, couldn't care less. They go 10-2, they're in the playoffs. Doesn't matter what else happens. Then you're just hoping they get one of the 5 to 8 seeds. And could you imagine Kroger Field for a home game for the playoffs?
I would be shocked if they got a home game at this point, but
Well, at 10-2,
Oh,
absolutely.
Too, we would. For
I would-
Sure.
well, I would be shocked if we got to 10-2, to be honest with you. But but if
Jaden
if they
is
were to
actually
get
the realist here. We're just the dreamers.
look, I was
Work today.
wrong, absolutely wrong on the pregame show about today. I was the only one that picked Ole Miss. I was
You're also
completely
wrong against Georgia, too.
I
You picked it to be an absolute ass whipping.
This is true.
You did.
This is true. But
Well, all
So
y'all
keep
picked
saying the
over
shit and
30
we'll
in that
win.
game.
I'm still going to keep
I didn't.
Somebody,
It's probably
Jordan by a lot was probably me. I'm going to be honest, but
I picked it. I thought it said it would be 23-10.
I'm still going to be true to myself. I still think that 10-2 would be. I mean, going to Texas does not feel like a likely situation
Yeah.
to win the game. But if you can pull off an upset against Tennessee, you can start thinking big.
if you beat Texas and Tennessee this season, I mean,
Hang the fucking statue.
build the
Cloud
statue
nine.
build the statue for Stoops right now.
Hang it as
Just
well.
go ahead and put it out there. Yeah, you can hang. Well, maybe don't hang it, but put the statue up there for Stoops, and yeah, you're absolutely talking about a playoff contender who we are losing our minds about. And wherever we go, I'll be at that game. If we are 10-2 traveling to a playoff game, that's why they make credit
I
cards.
will
there.
be at the playoff game. That is for sure.
If it's 10-2, it'll be here.
If it's 10-2, it's here.
We'll be here.
So what did y'all
I'm
think
so
about?
happy I have season tickets.
What did y'all think about going for it on the 4th and 7, 4th and 8 at the very end, the one to Berrien?
I mean, the massive cojones it took to make that call. I don't make that call. I don't make that call. I don't think I mean, it's one of those things where you just got to hope you get the ball back, but 4th and 7, then you're automatically giving up points if you don't score there or if you don't convert there. But I do think the Georgia game and not going for it influenced that call. Stoops said it was a gut decision to do that. But I think the fact that he didn't go for it there and lost the game, it probably influenced that decision. And we were on the road in a game that was a dogfight. We had a chance to win. Why not? Why not go for it? I think that's probably was in the decision making there. And he says he had faith in the team, whether he did or whether he just got lucky and made a play. It don't matter. But the fact that he made the call,
You can't make the play if you don't make a call like that.
Right.
Yep.
for sure. But now that he made that play, let's hope he has some confidence going forward. And when those things come up, because they will come up again, let's do it. Let's do that trash again.
Let's hope it doesn't come up again. But yes, let's hope it doesn't ever need for us to do that again. But yeah, do you feel like, and this is a question for all you guys, do you feel like the offense is really close? Because I thought the offense against Georgia was close. I thought last week it started to show some things. And I think they showed some things this week. I think they're really close. They got to figure out a way to get Berryon more involved and Macklin more involved, in my opinion. That starts to happen. I think this team is very dangerous.
I agree. I think you can kind of see the building up each week. And I'm hoping that with Berryon's performance this week, that kind of like put a spark in him to kind of get a little bit going a bit more, kind of live up to what we had all been expecting from him. Definitely some more work to do there, but you can see the improvement.
Yeah, I think we got to open up the offense a little bit, but you can see it in the plays that are just barely misses. Like in the Georgia game, it was a Berryon drop pass. It was right there. He went out right in the seam. He busted out to the left, home to the home sideline, and it was a drop. Today it was the dingle miss, right? So it's like barely tip ball. That dingle pass. I don't know if it was the same play. Was that the same play they ran against Clemson where Dingle got to the 2-yard line at the end of the game?
I think it was similar.
Similar play.
His route was the same.
Fake the pitch. Yeah, fake the pitch, and then you dump it off. Like those things are just our fingertips away from going. So like if they can put it together. But I think the key, if this offense, if we're really getting to 10-2 or 9-3, Bush has to find a way to get Macklin involved. Like, be intentional with getting this dude the ball. There's got to be a section on his play sheet that says number 9. How do I make number 9 the first read? And you tell Brock, throw him the damn ball. Because there was plenty of times where he is open. And as a receiver, when you're doing that stuff and you feel like you're out there just running sprints, eventually it's going to get in your head.
But confidence-wise for Brock, though, for Brock to be able to do that, I think was massive today because he throws for basically 250 yards against the top 6 defense.
Brock was perfect today.
Brock played amazing. Even some of the incompletions he threw were unlucky. There were some that, Caddis dropped 2. What's his face? 13. Farrier had a drop 2. Some unlucky. Some things unlucky, some where the plays blew up and he threw it away. He made really good decisions. He didn't throw the ball. I don't think he made one high-risk throw.
He didn't make any high-risk
throws. He held the ball a little bit. He can't hitch 3 times. It's 1 hitch, 2 hitch, and you got to go.
He's got to throw the ball away. He's taking sack. Now, they're third down sacks where it doesn't really matter if you lose the 6 yards because you're punting anyway. But, with our punting game, it would be nice to have a couple extra yards on those guys. But yeah, I think he's got to throw it away. But other than that, he's great.
But he didn't try and force a play either.
He did not.
And that killed us against Georgia. He tried to I would rather a quarterback with the defense that they have. And look, we've seen this. We have seen this over and over again in the NFL. We've seen it in big time college football, right? If you got a defense like that, don't put them in bad situations. Mm-hmm. Eat the play, manage the game, and eat the fucking play, right? And he did it all game. He did it against Georgia for the most part. 1 turnover, that was the game, right? Like that was the difference in the game. Mm-hmm. He managed the game, and he's starting to grow in that confidence. If I'm Bush, I'm finding a way to roll him out of the pocket as much as I can because he is deadly on the move. When you give him time, though, like some of those throws over the middle were so good. They just got to find a way to get the ball in a little bit more. They got to use the tight ends more. I love that mid screen to Willie. I loved it. That was a beautiful play call. Those are the things they need to start sprinkling in more. I think you're starting to see the offensive line a little bit better in the run game. This was harder. I actually thought we would try and run the ball more, and we didn't. And the throws that we made were perfect. Like they put them in high success rates. And look, it would have been great if we scored 40. But if this team averages 24, if this team can average 24 to 27 a game, they got a shot to win every game the rest of the season.
What was it? 2 years ago, there was the stat that if we'd scored 24 every game, we would have gone 12-0. Like it's. Mm-hmm. the defense has proven, there's a proven track record with Brad White that this defense is going to get after people. Like holding this Ole Miss offense to 17, this was the best offense in America coming in. We talked about the weak competition, but like there may not be another team other than Georgia that holds this team under 20. Like this was an absolute masterclass. I know I said that for Bush Hamden, but it's a masterclass by Brad White as well. You needed a masterclass from both.
He made one bad play call, and that was on the 4th down and 7, and he brought the house, and he shouldn't have brought the house. He should have showed and then backed out. He probably gets a sack in that situation because that slant isn't there.
Yeah, they could have used one linebacker sitting in the middle zone and playing like a peak or.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. But if you're a DB there and you know they're bringing the house, you can't bail. You have to attack.
You have to have press
route.
coverage on.
They just had to make a tackle.
You had.
Yeah,
it wasn't even the reception.
Well,
you just got to make a tackle when he runs between 3 people.
But again, like they ran that little cross route. You either have to switch it or you have to say, "Hey, I'm going to jump the route," and he just chilled. So it's like if you know you're bringing the house, you're bringing 8. You got to sit on, or you can't sit on the route. You got to go attack it. But one more thing on Brock. My favorite thing about him is he has been smacked around this entire season, whether it's taking off on runs or getting sacked. There's no emotion on his face. You don't see him slamming the ball. You don't see him yelling at the old lineman. You don't see him just putting his head down. He just goes to the next play. Like this dude is just mentally tough, and that is going to get us through some games. Like I watched him. I'm waiting for him to break down, waiting for him to lose his shit, and he doesn't. He just like he smacked the ground one time. So I think he was frustrated at himself, but like he doesn't get he's just a leader, man. You can see that he's a leader, and I think that's going to carry deep into the season. I think it's important. I wanted to call it out. And it's like he could easily have given up or shown some ass, and gotten frustrated at the O-line or the offense or whatever, and he hasn't. And I think that's massive for this team.
He's a really good leader. I mean, you see him out there on the game. His elbow is bleeding every game. You see his hair. He's dripping sweat. Like he's out there fighting almost for his life with some of the things the offensive line puts him through. Like he's, especially with some of the things that Bush puts him through upon quarterback draw and quarterback run so many times. Like he's out there fighting, and I give him a lot of credit for bouncing back, especially after South Carolina. It would have been easy for him to fold, and he is not at all against 2 of the better defenses he'll play all year.
All right, you got to help me with that one. You've heard of Elf on the Shelf, but let me introduce you to.
It's Brock Vaught, Hemingway, Sip, Grove, Oxford. I don't know. Who tweeted that? Where are we at?
Griff on the Sip.
Maybe that's a stretch.
Clip in the sip.
Clip in the sip.
Clip in the sip.
That is very advanced.
Vince Morrow just retweeted the college game day. Everybody picking Ole Miss and just put LOL period.
He's been tweeting LOL all year long, and he's been getting destroyed for it. Finally, he got himself an LOL.
Clip in the sip.
He got himself one.
Amazing.
Clip in the sip. I love that the big dog goes LOL. Hey, listen. I think the biggest thing about this team that I love is the confidence and the fact that they've not given up. What happened with South Carolina, and then what do we get told by the people that we know around the program that are there, right? Because we were out of town, we weren't able to be around the guys that week. The mood is high.
Oh yeah.
And they came out and punched Georgia in the mouth.
Oh yeah.
And then we beat Ohio, and then we're with the guys in the facility on Wednesday, and all of them are still talking playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And some of you people might laugh at that. Listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. In 2003, the Marlins were 10 games under 500, and Dontrell Willis got called up, and they were talking to him after a win against the Mets. And he was saying, he's here to help the team and their goal to reach their goal of making the playoffs. And I remember laughing because there were 10 games under 5. It was 18-28 at the time. The Marlins won the World Series in 2003. It's all about mindset. If your mindset is the goal, a setback doesn't stop you. And I think this team has championship mindset. Now, whether that manifests itself out is one thing, but what it says is this team has the mindset that it doesn't matter if it's going to get kicked in the fucking teeth or not. They're going to respond. They're not going to shake. They're not going to break. This is a tight-knit unit. And for the people who have hated on Mark Stoops for the last 3 weeks, that speaks to coaching. That speaks to culture. And it shows that this team in this locker room has not quit. It's not given up. And listen, call me crazy. I think this team could run the table. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. History says they probably don't. But I think defensively, and if this offense can take another step, I think this is not only a playoff team, this is a team that could beat anybody in the nation.
Like you just described, it doesn't matter what we think. If the team thinks they can run the table, that's what matters. If they believe it, let's fucking go.
And the biggest part about all of this is they've made this year is fun again. There was negativity around it. You're going to have the next 2 home games are going to be nuts, barring we don't have a stinker. Kentucky wins the next 3. They're 6-2 going into Knoxville. You probably thought they might be 6-2 going into Knoxville. Like this reset everything, right? It reset everything. That it's a loss to South Carolina, but you beat one of the 2 top 10 teams.
They cancel out.
They canceled out. They canceled out. Yep.
Yeah.
And now I think you can go into Knoxville at the same place you thought you would go into with a chance to win that game and go into the final 3 games with because if they win that game, the next 3, like I don't think you will ever see Kentucky a more hype football place than you will in the next 3 weeks. 2 of the next 3 will be at home. Obviously, I think you'd see Murray State a sellout. If they beat Tennessee, I think you'll see Murray State a sellout.
They were in danger zone of like the Vandy game in a couple of weeks being empty. If Ole Miss had done
that'll be a sellout now.
Or had done what I thought they might have been, but it would be sad if it wasn't a sellout the way that they played. You should reward the players. Isn't there an NIL beer? Like buy some NIL beer, get them some extra money. It's just I don't know. Yeah, you got to support the team after a game like that in a couple weeks.
I agree. You gotta. Yeah.
Wrong NIL, bro. Wrong NIL, bro.
Just kidding. Don't buy the beer. No beers.
Tastes like shit.
Yeah.
Whoa. Speaking of that, though, do you like? The 15 Club was instrumental in bringing both of those cornerbacks in that play today.
That is so important to highlight.
Like everybody gets negative and says, oh, like pony up and all this stuff. This team is close to being a perennial competitor. If they get a little bit more money in, the relationships that the 15 Club has in recruiting across the country with the coaching staffs, this could be a perennial playoff contender.
Absolutely.
People can laugh and go, ha. I actually think in this day and age in the NIL world, I think it's easier for someone like Kentucky to compete than it ever has been, because now you can get other guys if you have the relationships, if you have the culture. Mark Stoops, I'm going to tell you right now, Kirby Smart's not staying at Georgia forever.
No.
Kirby Smart's going to the NFL. He's going to go to the NFL. I'm going to tell you right now, but Kirby Smart's going to the NFL. I promise you, Kirby Smart's going to the NFL. I almost bet money.
I think so.
I will bet you money Kirby Smart will go to the NFL either this year, at the end of this year, or next year. $100.
Put it on the line.
$100.
Deal.
Kirby Smart's going to the NFL. I'm telling you right now, because Kirby Smart's. How long will he go to the NFL?
You said in the next 2 years.
How many years?
I think in the next 2 years he'll go to the NFL.
Deal. Shake on it virtually.
So here's why. Here's why.
Shake on it virtually. Shake on it. $100. All right. Deal.
Here's why. Here's why. I think his name is really hot. And I think you're going to have someone rock out there with the name Jerry and the last name Jones and offer this guy a lot of money. Like Georgia's not going to be able to offer him this money. And the thing about Kirby Smart, and he knows this, if he goes there and he wins, he gets to cement himself in a legacy and in an aura of something that no other coach has, right? And don't ever doubt that. Like, don't ever doubt that. Nick Saban didn't succeed in Miami because Miami were idiots. Had nothing to do with Nick Saban. If they would have brought Drew Brees in, Nick Saban never goes to Alabama. It just never happens.
I was so against you until you said the name Jerry Jones, and all of a sudden I'm like,
that makes sense.
You know what?
They might just do it.
They might.
The lights are aligning.
They might could do it.
They might. It
might just be Jerry Jones, but
Jerry Jones will look at him and say, I got 15
Jerry
million
Jones
reasons.
will pay for prime time before he pays for
I
Kirby.
100% disagree. He will literally
Smart
give
face.
Kirby Smart 15 million reasons to say no. And if he's smart, and if he is smart, he doesn't say no. He goes and takes the 15 million reasons. Because if he is able to do what only Jimmy Johnson's been able to do, if you think about it, if you look at college coaches, right, you have that have won a national title and that has won a Super Bowl. It's Jimmy Johnson and Pete Carroll. Those are the last two.
It's not a big list.
How many college coaches have won 2 national titles and won a Super Bowl? I can't think of one. Can you? I mean, Jimmy Johnson should have, but can you? No. So he literally can go and do something what nobody else has done before.
Mhm.
And I'm telling you, as a competitor, he's going to do it.
I don't know. If Jerry comes with some money, I think Georgia finds. And can they pay $15 million a year? No, but they will find some money to pay him.
I don't think it's all about. But you know this, Randow, as a competitor, it's not always. The money plays, because if the money's generational
he's a
money,
Georgia boy. He's a Georgia boy.
It doesn't matter. He has literally accomplished everything he can ever accomplish at Georgia. It's not like Nick Saban, who Nick Saban was great in college, went to the NFL, and was like, I'm never going back. Right? He's going to go to the NFL. I'm telling you this without a shadow of a doubt. Kirby Smart is going to be an NFL head coach. Just like everyone shook your head when we said this about Steve Spurrier, and Steve Spurrier went to the NFL. It's going to happen. Top coaches want to see where they can go at the top of their game. He's going to go to the NFL. And if Mark Stoops is still here, that is a unique opportunity for Kentucky, because Kellen DeBoer doesn't scare the shit out of me. Lane Kiffin kind of scares me all long term. Josh Heupel, honestly, I don't think he's a great coach. I think he's a good offensive mind, but I think all the way around, he's not an amazing coach. I'm not like
Kiffin's got to get it done this year. We talked about it on the pregame show.
If they don't make
on defense, they have to be really good.
Think about this too, right? Like, now who has a tiebreaker against Ole Miss? We do.
Yeah.
Our schedule is harder than Ole Miss.
Yeah.
If 10-2 Ole Miss and 9-3 Kentucky are head to head, what do you think happens? Let's say Kentucky loses one game on the road to Texas or Tennessee by 4 or less.
Is Georgia's lost to Tennessee, or excuse me, is Ole Miss has lost to Georgia? The other one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's say Ole Miss loses to Georgia.
It's tough. Man, it's really going to matter head to head, but if they lost a game less than us, it's gonna be
record probably plays there. Unfortunately,
You might be right. Louisville has unfortunately cut the lead to 7.
But today you got yourself right back in position where you thought you would be going into the bye.
Right.
You gave yourself.
We have a chance.
The ceiling that you thought you lost when you lost to South Carolina, you got the ceiling right back when you beat Ole Miss, because you shouldn't have beat that, and only. So many people expected that at the beginning of the year. You put yourself back in the position of, we're a lucky play, or we're a lucky game away from a playoff. Like we're a game away.
I think you want South Carolina to go to 8-4 now. That helps.
Absolutely.
Georgia needs to win every game. South Carolina needs to win every game.
That's why I wanted
we're rooting for Georgia tonight, by the way. Now, officially, you are rooting for Georgia against Alabama.
For sure. That's why I wanted South Carolina to beat LSU. Like it would have been a big win for our schedule.
I just didn't want them to have that. I hated them, and I didn't expect maybe that this was going to happen, especially when we were playing Georgia. We don't want them to we want them to lose one less than us.
Right.
It's all that needs to happen, because we don't need them talking about playoffs, because that's almost as insufferable as Louisville.
Hey, if I jump off soon, does it jack you all up?
No, we're almost done anyway. So
okay, all right.
I think we're
gonna go celebrate Jackson Boy's birthday, and we're gonna go watch Georgia Alabama. So
there you go.
Fabulous night.
Well, I think this is a great place for us to stop. Real quick, just round robin. Everybody, give me who you thought your offensive and defensive player of the game was. Jaden.
Yeah, I will go on offense. I'm going to go Dane Key. I mean, he looked like an NFL player for the second week in a row. He looked like the player we thought he was going to be. It's really good to see Dane Key make a bunch of those NFL plays against, in one-on-one situations. On defense, I'll go JQ Hardaway. He got beat on that one post corner. Other than that,
but did he? He fell.
He fell. He got crossed up.
I don't think he got cried. He went to plant on the guy, and his cleats just went out.
Yeah,
unlucky.
But and then right after that play, he forces a fumble.
Yeah.
Probably wins the game. Like he saved them a little bit. He made a bunch of really good tackles. I'll throw in an honorable mention for Jordan Luckett for the one open field tackle on
Jordan Lovett's hit there was
on the running back,
yes.
because when that happened, as soon as the running back started running, I was like, shit, they got us.
Yeah.
And then he hit him, and that was incredible. But I'll go with those two making the dual big plays.
Will you rewatch the game?
Probably, at least the highlights.
Yeah, the extended highlights. It was kind of like, it wasn't a boring game, but I don't want to watch a bunch of punts.
Now that I'm not nervous, it'll be a lot easier.
Yeah, you get to analyze a lot more. Kyndall, what about you?
Offensive player, I was also going to say Danke, but to change it up, I'll say Demi. And for defensive, I'm gonna go with Dion.
It's a good shout. Randow.
He was awesome.
Offensive player of the game, Brock, my guy. Like you managed the game perfect, man. You took some hits, but you made plays you had to go.
Yeah.
And defensive player of the game, JJ Weaver, like unsung hero. Mm-hmm. You made some key plays in it, and like you could have bitched, you could have pouted, getting held and all that stuff, but you put your head down and you smack boys around, and I appreciate that. You won us the game on defense. I appreciate you, my guy.
We've named 3 defensive players of the game, and all 3 of them, all of us have nodded. He deserved the player of the game.
Absolutely.
That's the kind of thing it takes to beat a top 6 team on the road.
So for me, I think I'm with you. Brock is my player of the game. Got hit, and never flinched. You could have seen there was a very open opportunity, I think, for Gavin Wimsatt to play more than Brock, and Brock played and was like, no, this is my position. He lowered his shoulder when he needed the extra yard. He showed grit and determination. He showed poise. Brock is my offensive player of the game. Obviously, Danke played amazing, but Brock over and over again, getting him the ball, to me, he's my offensive player of the game. Defensive player of the game, I am also going to go Dayon Walker, and because Dayon ate so much of their double teams, and when they didn't double team him, he literally was in the backfield. He was getting held all game. And if you just look at his leadership on the sideline and him hugging Josh Caddis after that touchdown, it says everything you need to know about his passion, what this means to him. And I think that was incredible. And so those are my 2 players of the game. And I think you just got to give shout outs to the whole coaching staff, because the last 3 weeks they've had this team ready to play. They got shit on after South Carolina, and I'll be honest, rightly so. We played like shit. Everybody was out of position. We blew 3 defensive coverages. We never should have lost the game. If we line up against South Carolina next week, we beat South Carolina by 2 touchdowns. Yeah. I have no doubt about that. I don't think South Carolina could beat us again. If they played us right now, I don't think that they would beat us. You got to give a shout out to the coaching staff, and what they've been able to do the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, pay Brad White whatever he wants. Dion was the player of the game. I just said JQ because
that's a good shout though. JQ locked up their best wide receiver and forced the fumble. Like they, outside of the explosive plays, there was 2, and they weren't on him.
Yeah, and
neither were on him.
I said pregame that
Ty Bryant actually effed up on that and on the touchdown on 4th down because he pinched too hard.
Yeah, I said Dion was my prediction for player of the game, and he probably was.
Brock.
If you go back,
You also said Brock.
Yep.
I did.
Yep.
I did. You know what?
Look at you. You're 1 for 3.
My score predictions are
terrible.
Horrific.
In the garbage.
Horrific.
Absolutely awful. But player of the game is not bad. Not a bad situation.
Kyndall's over here hawking like she's just smoking a joint just constantly, and there's no joint smoking going on. That is not happening. There's no smoking going on, and she's just hawking a hairball. Randow, you got anything you want to add or finish up before we head out?
Yeah, one thing. Go mother Cats, baby. Let's go.
Cats, baby. Go Cats. Big Blue Nation, enjoy this one. Listen, this can still be a hell of a ride. The fun in the season is back. The joy, the everything on the table. Now we just got to go get it. Now we got to prove it. Keep playing the way we are. And who knows? Maybe we make a run at this damn thing. Maybe we make a run at this thing. Enjoy it, everybody. Go Big Blue.
Big Blue, baby.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Bleed Blue Network podcast. We hope you enjoyed diving deep into the world of Kentucky sports with us. Don't forget to stay connected by following us on Twitter at BleedBNation. Your feedback means the world to us. So take a moment to leave a review. Not only does it help us improve, but it also helps others discover the show. Until next time, keep cheering, keep listening, and keep bleeding blue.